Please don't do that, she cried. The rancher's choice shocked an entire town. The sun dipped low behind the jagged hills surrounding Red Mesa. Its last light painted the town in shades of gold and rust, turning the hovering dust into a glowing haze. At the edge of the town, the Hayes Ranch lay quiet, save for the gentle hum of machines feeding water to the genetically engineered cattle. To any outsider, it looked like a normal ranch, but Colton Hayes knew it was about to become a very dangerous place. Inside the barn, Colton moved cautiously. Alara Va sat on a stack of hay bales, cradling a small glowing device that seemed almost alive. Its soft hum filled the otherwise silent space. I can't stay here for long, she said quietly, glancing around. Her eyes were sharp, filled with worry. They'll come for me, and if they take the core, Red Mesa won't survive the blast. He had agreed to hide her, but the weight of that choice sat heavy on his shoulders. I know, he said. That's why you're staying hidden. For now, the ranch is the safest place you've got. Alara's fingers traced the smooth metal of the device. It's not just a machine, she whispered. It's a power source, big enough to light the entire town, or destroy it. And there are people out there who would kill just to get it. Colton frowned. He had seen greed before, but never like this. People who would risk lives for a device that could bring the sky down on them. He had faced outlaws, raiders, even rogue AI drones in the past, but this was different. This was something bigger. The barn door creaked, and Colton spun around. It was Jeb, his trusted foreman. Jeb's brow was furrowed. Colton, he said, his voice low. What's going on? Who's this woman, and why are you hiding her? The sheriff will have your hide if he finds out. She's in trouble, Jeb. That's all you need to know. Keep quiet. Jeb shook his head. Colton, you can't just hide people in your barn. You know what the town thinks of that. You're putting all of us at risk. Colton stepped closer, lowering his voice. I know. But if we turn her in, she's dead, and the town might not be safe either. Do you trust me or not? Jeb hesitated, then gave a slow nod. I trust you, but I don't like it. Not one bit. The night fell, and the ranch was quiet again, but Colton could feel the tension in the air. The wind carried a faint hum, almost like the sound of distant engines. Colton knew that wasn't just the wind. Someone was coming. Alara looked at him. They'll find me tonight, she said. Her voice trembled slightly, though she tried to keep it calm. I can't outrun them forever. He had never needed it much lately. The robots and automated systems kept the ranch safe. But tonight, he would need more than machines. Tonight, he might have to fight like he did in the old days. Suddenly, the soft hum of the device grew louder. Alara froze. No, she whispered. They've found me. Colton ran to the barn door and peered out. In the distance, the faint glow of scout drones hovered over the fields. Their red eyes scanned the ranch, searching. They were silent, but their presence sent a chill down his spine. Colton turned to Alara. Stay behind me. Don't move. The drones descended slowly, their engines barely making a sound. Colton grabbed a lantern and held it high, hoping to create a distraction. The first drone spotted the light and paused, spinning its sensors. Then it emitted a high-pitched whine. Alara's eyes widened. They're scanning for the core. We need to move it. Colton nodded. Together they lifted the device and hurried into the underground storage room beneath the barn. It was a small, cool space, lined with metal walls and reinforced doors, perfect for hiding things that didn't belong in the open. Colton placed the device carefully on a shelf. The hum dimmed slightly, as if the device recognized the protection. They won't find it here, he said, trying to sound confident. Alara looked at him with a mixture of relief and worry. I hope you're right. But if they do, we might have to fight them off. Are you ready for that? Colton's lips pressed into a thin line. He had spent his life avoiding trouble, but trouble had a way of finding him anyway. I faced worse than drones, he said. But this is something new. Outside, the drones scanned the property, their lights cutting through the dark like knives. Colton and Alara stayed hidden, holding their breath. Minutes felt like hours. Then, slowly, the drones lifted back into the sky and disappeared over the hills. Colton exhaled sharply. That was too close. Alara nodded. They'll be back, and next time they won't leave so easily. The following morning, the ranch was quiet again. Colton checked the perimeter, ensuring no signs of forced entry. He then returned to the barn, where Alara was preparing a simple breakfast. You eat, he said. You need your strength if they come again. Thanks. You're braver than you look. Colton smirked. Bravery's just a matter of stubbornness sometimes. They ate in silence, the weight of what was coming pressing down on both of them. Colton thought about the town. People would talk if they knew he was hiding someone. He thought about Marshal Riggs, the corrupt sheriff who would see him arrested, or worse, without a second thought. And he thought about the device, glowing softly in its hiding place, a reminder that danger was never far. As the sun climbed higher, Colton decided they needed more protection. He went to the workshop and began modifying the old cattle drones. He attached sensors, repurposed some old energy shields, and programmed them to patrol the ranch autonomously. By the end of the day, the ranch would be fortified like a small fortress. Elara watched him impressed. "You really know your way around tech," she said. Colton shrugged. "Old habits die hard. I've been tinkering with machines since I was a kid. Never thought I'd need them to hide a star rider from bounty hunters, though."
"You'll get used to it."
The universe is full of surprises. Night fell again, darker than the first. The ranch was quiet, but Colton didn't feel safe. He stayed near the barn, revolver ready, eyes scanning the horizon. Hours passed, and then a faint shimmer appeared in the sky, a glimmer of light, like a star falling. Colton tensed. "They're coming," he whispered. Elara stepped beside him, her hand brushing his. "We can do this," she said. "If we stick together." Colton nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on him. Protecting Elara wasn't just about hiding her. It was about protecting the town, too. If the wrong people got the core, Red Mesa could be destroyed. And that was something he could never allow. The shimmer grew closer, resolving into the sleek shapes of hovercrafts descending from the sky. They landed silently in the open fields outside the ranch, their engines off but their sensors glowing red. Colton checked the modified drones. They were ready. He loaded his revolver and gestured for Elara to stay back. "Remember," he said.
"No mistakes. We fight smart, not fast."
The first hovercraft moved forward, and Colton's heart pounded. This was no longer just a hidden woman in his barn. This was a battle for the ranch, the town, and the mysterious core she carried. Every moment counted. Elara whispered, "Please, don't let them take it." "I won't. Not while I'm standing." As the hovercrafts advanced, the ranch became a battlefield of wits and technology. Drones zipped through the air, scanning the grounds. Energy shields flickered to life, protecting the barn. Colton moved like a shadow, using his knowledge of the land to stay ahead of the enemies. Hours passed. The attackers were persistent, but the ranch was prepared. Colton and Elara worked together, coordinating movements, hiding, and using the terrain to their advantage. Each time the hovercrafts thought they had a target, the drones or clever traps thwarted them. Finally, the attackers retreated, frustrated and defeated, for now. Colton exhaled, sweat dripping from his brow. "They'll be back," he said. Elara smiled faintly, holding the device close. "Then we'll be ready." Colton looked out over the ranch, the night calm once again. He knew this was just the beginning. Protecting Elara, the core, and the town would test everything he had. But he also knew one thing. He wouldn't let fear control him. Not tonight. Not ever. For now, the Hayes Ranch stood strong, a silent fortress against the dangers of the universe. And Colton Hayes, the stoic rancher, had a new purpose, one that would change his life and the town of Red Mesa forever. The sun rose slowly over Red Mesa, casting long shadows across the dusty streets. The town looked calm, almost normal, but an uneasy tension hung in the air. Whispers moved like wind through the wooden buildings. People talked quietly about Colton Hayes, the rancher who had suddenly taken in a mysterious woman in a strange glowing device. "Did you see her?" a shopkeeper whispered to a passing customer. "The woman on the outskirts? They say she carries something powerful." "Powerful enough to destroy the town," the customer said, eyes wide. Colton rode into town early that morning, checking the perimeter and making sure no one had followed him from the ranch. His eyes scanned the streets, noting which windows were open and which faces watched him closely. The sheriff, Marshal Riggs, had not shown up yet, but Colton knew it was only a matter of time. At the saloon, Jeb met him, frowning. "The town's on edge, Colton. People are talking. If Riggs finds out what we're hiding, well, you know what he'll do." "I know. That's why we need to be smart. No mistakes." Jeb glanced toward the horizon where dust rose from the hills. "Looks like we might get company." Colton's hand instinctively went to his revolver. "Bounty hunters?" "Worse. Skyshit gang. They're fast, and they don't care about rules." Colton's jaw tightened. He had dealt with raiders before, but this was different. These people came from beyond the frontier, trained to hunt anything that promised profit or power, and they were after Alara. Back at the ranch, Alara prepared the device, checking the small energy core that hummed softly. "We can't stay hidden forever," she said. "They'll find us. And when they do, we have to be ready." Colton stood beside her, thinking. He had always been a man of action, not words, but the choices now weighed heavily on him. Protecting the device was more than protecting Alara. It was about saving the town. "We'll be ready," he said firmly. "Whatever comes, we won't let them take it." By noon, the sky darkened with the silhouettes of approaching skyships. They hovered like giant metal vultures above Red Mesa, their engines silent but threatening. Townspeople peeked from windows, fear in their eyes. Colton rode ahead of them, leading Jeb and a few other ranch hands to meet the gang before they reached the town. The first skyship landed in the open field near the center of town. Its ramp lowered, and a group of heavily armed bounty hunters stepped out. They wore high-tech armor, but their movements were quick and precise. Their leader, a tall figure with a glowing visor, stepped forward. Colton dismounted his horse and held his ground. "You don't belong here," he said, voice steady. The leader tilted his head, studying Colton. "And you don't know who you're standing against, rancher. Step aside and we might leave the town in one piece." Colton shook his head. "Not a chance. You leave, or we'll make you leave." The leader's visor glowed brighter. "Then you're choosing your own fate." The town watched as tension built. Children were led inside by worried parents, and shopkeepers bolted doors. Dust swirled around the square, mixing with the rising hum of approaching energy weapons. Colton signaled to Jeb, who nodded. They had prepared for this moment. The ranch drones, hidden in the hills, began to hover silently toward the attackers, creating distractions and forcing the bounty hunters to split their focus. Alara, standing at the edge of town, watched nervously. "Colton, be careful," she whispered. Colton glanced at her. "Always." The first exchange was sudden. The drones zapped the attackers' scanners, giving Colton and his team the advantage. Using cover, they moved strategically, forcing the bounty hunters to retreat slightly. But the attackers were relentless, and the town square became a maze of strategy and quick thinking. Then something unexpected happened. The energy core Alara carried pulsed, sending a shockwave through nearby machinery. Wagons rolled on their own, fences snapped open, and even the town's water system powered up uncontrollably. Red Mesa seemed alive, reacting to the power hidden in its midst. People screamed and ran, unsure of what was happening. The bounty hunters staggered, caught off guard. Colton used the confusion to push forward, taking the fight closer to the attackers. His revolver flashed in the sunlight, precise and deadly. Alara watched in awe. "The device, it's reacting," she said. "It's like it knows the danger." Colton didn't answer. He was focused on keeping the attackers away from the device and the town. Each move had to be calculated. Every second counted. The leader of the bounty hunters growled, activating his own energy weapon. A beam shot toward Colton, who ducked just in time. Sparks flew as the beam hit a metal barrel, igniting it. Flames licked the edge of the square, adding another layer of chaos. Colton rolled behind cover, then leapt up, firing with precision. The attackers faltered, their formation breaking. The townspeople watched in disbelief as a rancher and a mysterious woman held back an elite skyship gang, but Colton knew this was only temporary. The attackers were skilled, and they would return. He needed a plan, something bold enough to protect the device, Alara, and the town at the same time. He looked around and saw an old water tower near the edge of town. It was connected to a network of pipes and machinery. An idea formed. He sprinted toward the tower, signaling Jeb to follow. Alara hesitated. "Colton, what are you doing?" "Trust me," he said. Reaching the tower, Colton worked quickly. He attached a cable from the energy core to the water pipes. The hum of the device intensified as it began to feed energy into the system. Colton hoped it would create a defensive barrier, or at least give them a fighting chance. The attackers advanced, but as soon as the device's energy surged through the pipes, something remarkable happened. Water shot from the tower, powered by the core, creating a wall of pressure and mist. Attackers were pushed back, their weapons short-circuited by the sudden surge. Colton and Jeb moved swiftly, taking advantage of the confusion. With careful shots and clever maneuvers, they forced the bounty hunters to retreat, boarding their skyship and disappearing into the sky. The town was safe, for now. Dust settled, and people slowly emerged from their hiding places. They stared at Colton and Alara in awe. Rumors would spread for weeks about the rancher who had stood up to the skyship gang and a woman with a mysterious device that could make the town itself fight back. Alara exhaled, holding the device close. That was too close, she said. Colton nodded, wiping sweat from his brow. It's not over. They'll be back, and next time it could be worse. The town slowly returned to normal. Shops reopened, children played in the streets, and people whispered about the bravery of one man and a woman who carried a power beyond understanding. But Colton knew the truth. Protecting the device wasn't just about fighting off attackers. It was about preparing for the inevitable moment when the real danger arrived. He walked through the town, quietly checking buildings and listening to rumors. Marshal Riggs had not appeared, which was unusual. Colton suspected the sheriff was waiting, watching, and planning his next move. Back at the ranch, night fell again. Colton and Alara reinforced the barn and surrounding perimeter. The energy core pulsed softly in its hidden chamber, a constant reminder of the responsibility they bore. Alara looked at Colton, her eyes filled with gratitude. Thank you, she said. You saved more than just me today. You saved the town. Colton shook his head. We saved the town. Together. And we'll need to keep working together if we want to keep it safe. The hum of the device filled the barn like a heartbeat. Colton felt the weight of the future pressing down on him. The town had survived today, but tomorrow would bring new challenges, new enemies, and new choices. And one choice, above all, would define everything, what he was willing to risk and who he was willing to protect when the real danger finally arrived. For now, Red Mesa slept, but the horizon glowed with threats yet unseen. Colton Hayes, the stoic rancher, knew that the days ahead would test him and the entire town in ways they could never imagine. The night was quiet, almost too quiet. Red Mesa lay under a dark sky, the stars shining faintly above the jagged hills. But Colton Hayes knew better. Danger never slept. He could feel it in the wind, in the hum of machines at the ranch, and in the soft glow of Alara's energy core. Alara stood beside him in the barn, her fingers brushing the metal of the device. They'll be here tonight, she whispered. Her eyes were full of worry, but also determination. This is the moment. We can't hide anymore. He had faced danger before, but never like this. Not with the lives of an entire town and a powerful, unpredictable device at stake. We'll be ready, he said, though the weight of the truth pressed heavy on him. Whatever happens, we protect this town. The bounty gang, regrouped and angrier than before, approached Red Mesa in their skyships. Their engines were quiet, but the glowing red sensors on their crafts gave away their presence. Colton signaled to Jeb in the ranch hands. The town needed to be defended, and there was no time to waste. Alara held the device close. If they take it, if it falls into the wrong hands, the town is finished, she said. Colton looked at her, steeling himself. I won't let that happen. Not while I'm standing. Its ramp lowered, revealing the bounty hunter's leader, his visor glowing brighter than ever. Rancher, he called, his voice carrying across the square. You've caused more trouble than you realize. Step aside, or watch everything burn. You'll have to try harder than that, he said. The town watched from their homes, windows cracked open, children clinging to parents. Whispers spread like wildfire, some fearful, some hopeful. They had seen Colton's courage before, but tonight would define him forever. Alara stepped forward, her device pulsing. Colton, please, don't let them take it, she pleaded. Colton's eyes narrowed. I'll do what I must, he said. Then the battle began. Energy beams shot across the street, sparks flying as metal clashed with metal. Colton and Jeb moved strategically, using the town's old wooden buildings as cover, while the drones from the ranch zipped overhead, creating confusion and blocking attacks. But the bounty hunters were relentless. One team moved to flank the town, while another targeted the barn where Alara kept the device. Colton realized quickly that a direct fight would not win this battle. He needed a plan, a smart plan. He grabbed Alara's hand and led her toward the old water tower at the edge of town. We're going to use the core, he said. It's time we make the town fight with us. Alara's eyes widened. Are you sure? Trust me. They reached the tower and connected the device to the pipes that ran through the town. The hum grew louder, almost like a heartbeat, as energy pulsed through the water system. Suddenly, fountains of water erupted in precise arcs, creating barriers and knocking attackers off balance. The townspeople gasped, watching in awe as their town seemed to fight back on its own. The leader of the bounty hunters growled. Impossible, he shouted. His visor glowed brighter as he activated his weapon. A powerful beam shot toward the water tower, aiming for the device. Colton leapt in front of Alara. using a nearby steel support as cover. Sparks flew as the beam hit the metal, and the water shield surged higher, protecting them both. The fight raged, but the town now had a defender it didn't realize it had, Colton Hayes, the rancher who refused to back down. But the moment of victory was fragile. The energy core pulsed violently, as if warning them. Colton realized that the longer the device stayed active, the more dangerous it became. If it overloaded, it could destroy everything in Red Mesa. He looked at Alara. "We have to move it," he said. "If I keep it here, the town is at risk. But if I take it, I might be able to save everyone." "No! Don't do that!" "The attackers will trust me," Colton interrupted. His voice was firm. "I'll protect the town. I'll protect you." He grabbed the device and its hum intensified, almost like it recognized the importance of the choice. Colton ran through the streets, weaving between buildings, dodging energy blasts and falling debris. The bounty hunters tried to intercept him, but his knowledge of the town's layout gave him the edge. He reached the edge of Red Mesa, where the cliffs dropped into a deep canyon. Below, the river reflected the starlight, calm and dark. Colton knew what he had to do. Alara caught up, breathless. "Colton, no!" He turned to her, holding the glowing core in his hands. "This is the only way. It has to be safe. I'll make sure no one gets hurt." With one last glance at the town, Colton hurled the device over the cliff. The core spiraled downward, glowing brighter as it fell. The bounty hunter shrieked in frustration, but the surge of energy stabilized as it hit the river. A massive pulse shot upward, knocking the attackers' sky ships off balance and sending them retreating into the night. Red Mesa was safe. The town erupted in cheers, people rushing into the streets to celebrate the courage of the rancher who had saved them. Children laughed, and shopkeepers clapped, finally believing in heroes again. Alara ran to the edge of the cliff, watching the device float safely in the river. "You did it," she said, tears in her eyes. Colton approached, exhausted but steady. "We did it," he corrected. "Together." The night was calm again. The bounty hunters had retreated, Marshal Riggs had not yet appeared, and the town looked peaceful under the stars. Colton and Alara walked back into Red Mesa, tired but victorious. People gathered around them, whispering and pointing. "Did you see that?" one man asked. "The rancher, he saved the town." Colton said nothing, simply tipping his hat. He didn't need praise. He had done what needed to be done. "You made a choice tonight, a choice that changed everything." Colton nodded. "Sometimes, choices aren't about what's easy. They're about doing what's right, no matter the cost." As the town settled into a peaceful night, Colton returned to his ranch. The barn was quiet, the drones deactivated, and the hum of machines soft and steady. He felt the weight of the day lifting, replaced by a strange calm. Alara sat beside him, her hand resting on the wooden table. "What will you do now?" she asked. Colton looked out at the horizon, the first hints of dawn touching the hills. "I'll keep protecting the town, and maybe see what else the universe has in store." Blank. "After tonight, I think you're ready for anything." Colton smiled faintly. "Maybe, but some things are bigger than any of us. All we can do is make the right choice when it comes." The first rays of sun broke over Red Mesa, painting the town gold. Life slowly returned to normal. Children ran through the streets, cattle grazed peacefully, and townspeople whispered tales of bravery and courage. The story of Colton Hayes, the stoic rancher who had protected a mysterious woman and a powerful device, would be remembered for generations. But Colton knew that life on the frontier was never truly calm. Danger could return at any moment. Yet he felt ready to face whatever came next, knowing that sometimes the greatest battles weren't fought with guns or machines, but with the choices one made when everything else was on the line. For tonight, Red Mesa slept in safety. And Colton Hayes, the rancher who had made the impossible choice, stood quietly on the porch of his ranch, watching the sunrise, knowing that he had done what needed to be done, and that the town would never forget it.